So I've been reading this book. I don't want to spoil the book, so I'm not going to give any titles. It's about a bunch of people getting into coma, waking up, and whatnot. Um, you really feel bad for some of them as you read the book. But days like yesterday, for people like us who had to sit through the Manchester Derby, you really wonder if we are better off than those people.
I mean, might as well be in a coma. That's, yeah.
I heard a lot of
It's
people
not
went
even.
into it after watching the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I usually listen to stuff when I'm going to sleep. I think I just should add this to my playlist of let's go to sleep. Yeah, exciting game week.
Yeah.
Not. It was exciting in some of the games were exciting, and there were some unusual suspects. But let's first talk about the most important thing. What's up with your new look? You're like, you have like job interviews and all that lined up.
No, something more important. We sorry about the background noises with all the vehicles. We had a very special weekend right before this. We
Mhm.
released a pilot episode of Sports Entertainment Weekly, our flagship humor program, very different to what we do with the streams. And we got two kinds of comments. One was about how funny the jokes were and how it's really refreshing, something that people haven't seen in the football space. And the second most frequented theme in these comments was about the hairstyle and how, hey, you should probably consider ditching the long hair. It doesn't really suit you. And well, I'm nothing if not a man for the community that we cater to. And here we are.
Fantastic. Being as you know conscientious as we are about waiting for events before releasing clips from the episode, I know we were waiting for some referee howler before we released that segment that I recorded as a clip,
You
and
didn't have to wait long, did you?
it didn't wait long. You know the best thing about European competitions, I don't know the names of any of the referees. Like there's literally only one referee in European football whose name I currently know, who's currently a ref. It's Clement Turpan, and the only reason I know his name is that he looks like Leandro Trossard's older brother. I'm like, is there a Trossard who's a referee? And it wasn't, but they look the same. Like that's how competent they are. And I wish I didn't have to know the names of any of the Premier League referees, but I know them like I know my best friends because I get so angry at them. And that was again the case this week in what was the game that I watched, which was Arsenal drawing away at Everton 1-1. Uh, we did enough to win the game, to be honest. It was, we took the lead in the first half. Arteta uncharacteristically fielded a very, very rotated side. Uh, he clearly has his eye on the Real Madrid game, of course, the Champions League quarterfinals. So, but even then, in the past, he's never been the guy to rotate very heavily. But it was like a completely rotated lineup. We had Ben White starting after a long time in the league. We had Jakub Kivior starting at centre back. Gabriel is, of course, out for the season, which is like a huge, huge blow. But in midfield, he started Jorginho. Old man Jorginho came out of his sarcophagus to play again. And then Declan Rice and Merino. Not the most creative midfield. We had our legend Sterling starting on the left, Nwaneri starting on the right, and Trossard as centre forward.
Friendly reminder that Sterling to Arsenal means you stop watching football next
Yeah,
season.
it's not. I mean, look, I saw that performance yesterday. He's done, man. He's done at the top level, and it's no shade to him. The age curve and the minute curve gets to everyone. Like Sterling has been playing at the top level of English football since he was like 19 or something. He's had multiple seasons where he's played 3,000 plus minutes, and it's just, even though he's relatively young compared to some of the other players like Jorginho or Xhaka or whatever, like the intensity at which he's played his
That's
games
true.
is just,
He
yeah.
was used like a bar of soap
Yeah.
all through this. Formative
he
years.
he will retire as a legend of English football, and rightly so. But his time at the top level is done, and yeah, he's achieved it all though, so it's okay. I don't think it's any big shame for him. So yeah, it was a 1-1. It was, again, like I said, coming. I hate that I have to talk about the refereeing in any game, right? All I want is consistent performance from the referees, and this is usually a non-event when I watch European football. Some of the other leagues, like the Bundesliga, even La Liga, is still like, as much as people talk about like the refereeing and favoritism towards Madrid and all of that, the level of refereeing in La Liga is still much better than English football.
Let's agree to disagree.
Yeah, fine. But yeah, so the we got we were 1-0 up at a halftime. I expected Arteta to rotate, so he brought on Saka and Martinelli. So we actually became stronger in the second half. But within a couple of minutes, there was a foul that Miles Lewis Kelly was shielding the ball. It originated outside the box, and somehow it got dragged into the inside the box. And Jack Harrison, he fell down, and is like, if you look, the referee blew the whistle, and I was like, oh, like, he's called a foul on Jack Harrison because he was dragging Miles Lewis Kelly. Turns out it was a penalty awarded to Everton. And VAR, of course, refused to intervene. I was like, what is even the point if you're not intervening? And it was 1-1. And then Arsenal just couldn't get the breakthrough after that. Yeah. In the context of the season, it's like a non-event right now. We are like 11 points behind Liverpool. We were 11 points behind Liverpool, and with 7 games left, the title was long gone. But it just annoys me because Arsenal have gotten like 4 decisions against them that I've never seen before in my life. I don't think I'll ever see them before. Like, we got 2 players sent off for like kicking the ball away for delaying the restart. I've never seen that. How do you, like, it's just ridiculous. And here you have like Van Dijk routinely clobbering players. Last week, like, Tarkowski had like a sliding challenge against, I think, McAllister, didn't get sent off. So yeah, what's even the point of referees? Just bin the whole organization. I will do a better job than any PGMOL ref. I'm confident.
Rohit's quest for a referee redemption arc
Yeah, man.
continues.
It's just ridiculous because it's ruining the competition, the lack of consistency. Like, you have the most expensive football product in the world, and you are ruining it by having a bunch of utter incompetence referee the game. And the other point is that with VAR, who says that the VAR officials have to be referees? Like, there are a lot of small smart people around the world. They can watch angles. Like, we can watch like the 10 different camera angles and make like better decisions than some of these VAR officials. And there's an inherent problem with VAR because the focus is on not proving the referee wrong. It's not to get the right decision. Now, if I am a junior referee and I'm thrown on as a VAR official, and someone like Michael Oliver, who's like higher in the higher, in the echelon of referees, if he makes an on-field decision, and this guy is the one who's going to recommend or write my performance review at the end of the season, I am disincentivized to call him out, right? So the chain of command, it needs to be completely separated because the VAR should be independent of the refereeing organization. And I don't think it's that difficult to implement. Like, there are really smart analysts. There's like so much technology out there that can improve the game, and it's been used successfully in so many other tournaments and leagues. Why are we persisting with this stupid system, right? Anyway, I'll keep talking about it endlessly, but as far as the game is concerned, it's fine. 1-1 Everton away, it's always been like a bogey ground for us. It's the last game we'll ever play at Goodison Park. At the beginning of the game, we had like Arsenal got a jersey and stuff, and it was framed, and it was a good gesture because these two teams have been in the league for like more than a century, and they've played so many games against each other. So I think it was a good gesture overall. Yeah, it was fine. Um, if it was a closer title race, I would have been a lot more mad about it, but it was okay. Um, standout performer, it was Miles Lewis Kelly, actually. He's just saved us, like, I feel like $60-70 million, because he's he reminds me a lot of Musa Dembele. So there was this one mazy run he went on, and just I was just bulldozed his way through like three players and eventually got fouled on the edge of the box. It's just incredible to watch him grow. And you look at him and you're like, oh, he's 18. He has so much more to learn. So at the level he's at, it's incredible. Uh, I was looking, he reminded me a little bit of Morgan Rogers. I was like, man, we should get some player like him. And then I saw this guy play. I'm like, oh, we don't need to spend like 60 million to get a Morgan Rogers. We have a Morgan Rogers at home who's probably better and has a higher ceiling. So yeah, that was my standout performer. Saka came in, got some minutes, but we were not able to get the ball to him. The other standout performer, which is actually very critical, is Jakub Kivior. He played really well. He has this ball over the top that he plays that's perfect for Martinelli to latch onto. And I think that this is a weapon we will use against Real Madrid. And it's a good boost in confidence to be a man of the match just before, because he has big shoes to fill. He's stepping into Gabriel's boots for this really, really important game. So yeah, it's a good confidence boost for him. Yeah,
Right.
again, 11 points off of Liverpool. I think
Yeah.
we've locked in the second place, and that's about it. I don't have much more to say.
That's true. Well, that is true. This has been one of the more lackluster finishes to the champion spot in Premier League. But 2-5 or 2-7, those spots are kind of making up for it with so much more drama than we could have imagined
Yeah.
or asked for.
Yeah, I'd say it's more like 3-9 actually. If you look at it, there's a possibility that there might be 9 teams from the Premier League in the European spots next season. That's just insane. And it just shows, how the overall quality of the league has actually risen over the past 2 years. One really interesting game, one unexpected result was actually Aston Villa beating Nottingham Forest 2-1. That was a really good game. Aston Villa went up 2-0. They were both really good goals. Forest got one back, but they were not able to get the last goal that would have given them an equalizer. Murillo had like an incredible shot from outside the box. It rattled the crossbar. It would have been one of the goals of the season if it had gone in. He's a really good defender. Brazil, like you always associate them with like us attacking flair and all that, but they have produced some really, really good defenders over the past decades. So yeah, Murillo is just another in a long line. It was a good game. So Aston Villa, they actually have like a really interesting schedule. I mean, they are in the quarterfinals as well against PSG. They have the games coming up, right? So they play Southampton between the quarterfinals. So that should be a breeze because Southampton confirmed to be relegated. I feel bad for Aaron Ramsdale. This is the third time he's been relegated. So imagine like you're in two relegated teams and then you are in a team that finishes back to back in second place, almost winning the title. And then you're sold to another team and you get relegated again. Got to feel bad for him. But Raya at the time, I was like, wow, like why are we buying Raya? And like within like half a season, it became clear why he's a clear upgrade. So yeah, that's Southampton. But Aston Villa, they have Newcastle at home, City away, Palace away, Fulham at home, Bournemouth away, Tottenham at home, and Manchester United away. This is a incredibly hard run-in, except the United game and Spurs game. I think they're not as hard as the other ones. But yeah, Villa have a lot to play for in the next few games. Nottingham Forest also have like a good, solid like few games coming up. Some of them are easy. Again, they're hosting Everton. I think Forest will win it. Tottenham away, that might be a tougher game, but I think they'll come out on top. Then they host Manchester City at home. They host Brentford at home, Crystal Palace away. Leicester, they'll be relegated by the time Nottingham play them. And then West Ham are also not that great. And then the last game of the season for them is also really important. It's Chelsea. So it's like a, you know, really interesting end to the season for not for Forest as well. And I have to also mention Newcastle. They also have like a really good schedule coming up. I mean, they'll play Leicester next, which is fine. Uh, but they have United, Palace, Villa, Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Everton. So bunch of tough games coming up for them as well.
Good thing is they do have a couple of games in hand compared
Yeah,
with.
they do.
Uh,
They do. So I think, uh, yeah, this is all to play for. Honestly, I'm pretty sure Newcastle will finish in the top five spot, and they'll probably pip Manchester City and Villa.
is
Uh,
fifth place still a Champions League spot?
yes, this season most likely it is.
Mm.
So it gives them a little bit more leeway. So yeah, I think Newcastle will finish in that top five. They're going to get into the Champions League again. Yeah, I think one crazy game that I want to call out is not anything related to Europe. Maybe Brighton have a chance of getting into Europe, which is Crystal Palace against Brighton. That game was insane. Mateta, he was injured a few weeks ago, and then he got like this fancy helmet that he has to wear now because he had like some head injury, and he scored like in the third minute. I think these guys they went. It was then Brighton equalized, and then Palace got the winner. And after it was 2-1, Palace had like two players sent off. Nketiah was sent off for a second yellow. I think that was a little soft because he had a raised boot and all that, but he wasn't even looking at the player. The other player came from behind him, tried to head the ball and hit his foot. I don't think it warranted a second yellow, but it's fine. Then they had what's his name, Guehi, rightly sent off. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was like a, again, second yellow. And then on the other side, somebody from Brighton, I don't remember who. I think it might be Flecken, who was another defender. He got sent off, so they ended up with like 9 and 10 men on the pitch. It was a crazy, crazy. Like there was a save right at the death that was like in the 102nd minute, and they got the win. So Palace have been doing well under Glasner. So it was a really good win for them. But it was just the game itself was pretty insane.
Right. Before we close off, one call out we have to make is Liverpool's fatigue.
Mm,
For a team that has been doing so well, they've had a disastrous couple of weeks. Uh,
yeah, yeah. I think they've just had put enough in the bank before to comfortably win the league title. Uh, like Salah pulled them out of a lot of sticky situations early on, and it's just paid off. They were like, I think if it was again, like if it was within like 4 or 5 points at this time, it would have been a much more interesting title race. Like I said, refereeing and Arsenal failing to capitalize has kind of fizzled this season out. But yeah, I think fatigue is catching up to them. Fulham are a good side. They're like hard to beat at home. Silva is a good coach, and they were 3-1. They went down 1-0. McAllister scored an incredible goal in the first half, but Fulham almost immediately they came back and they went into the lead, and I think in the second half they went up 3-1. Uh, Slot made a substitution. Diaz came on and almost immediately scored 3-2. So it was a bit of a hearts in mouth kind of end for Fulham, but they have a lot to play for. They are eighth. They can still make Europa League. So I think they that's kind of motivating them to push on and get the results that they want. So yeah, Liverpool fatigue, it gets to everyone, right? They were like in the first half of the season, people were talking about a quadruple and all that. They had a bruising final game against Newcastle. They had very emotional. They robbed a win away at PSG, but then emotionally went out in a shootout against them. So yeah, it's been a
yeah,
tough
it's not
few
just
couple
about
of
the
months.
losses, the nature of them as well. They
Yeah,
lost one
it's
of their best players in Trent. Van
Hmm.
Dijk will probably end up re-signing based on the latest rumors.
Yeah.
It's just a lot to take if you're a Liverpool fan, and uh, it's very conflicting set of emotions at the moment.
Mhm.
You're you have a cakewalk to the league title that you have desperately craved for so many years, and one that Manchester City has stolen from you on so many occasions in such.
Yeah, yeah. I think on reflection, like, I mean, I absolutely wouldn't mind Liverpool get winning it as such, because considering the team that Klopp built, and the way they pushed City over the past few seasons, them walking away from that rivalry with only one title kind of is a little unfair. But yeah, football isn't fair. What to do? But they'll win it this season, so it'll be a good consolation for them. I've always been saying that we'll see what Slot is all about once he has to reassemble this squad. So this summer is very crucial for them. There's a lot of players that they need to either re-sign or replace, and you know, yeah, assuming like Van Dijk resigns, he's still like the age curve is still hitting him, right? You see some of the mistakes that he's been getting away with. Uh, he should have had a couple of more red cards than he's had this season, to be fair. But that just shows like there's a slow decline, like that at that age, right? You're a split second slower, and that catches you out on many occasions. So you're slowly seeing that. If he asks for something like 350K a week or whatever, I don't know if Liverpool should re-sign him, to be honest. uh, of course, I don't have any emotions associated with it. I'm just looking at it from a purely financial point of view, and it's the same for me for Salah. Like, he's going to ask for 400K a week based on this season. Yeah, you would say, oh yeah, I'm gonna, you know I'll happily pay for that. But again, it's the age curve. This is one of the all-timer seasons that he has. This is his best season so far. Would he be able to reproduce it next season and the season after, especially without Trent? Maybe like a rejiggered midfield. You'll have no Robertson, so it's going to be tough for them. I'm looking forward to seeing what Slot does. A good thing is that Liverpool generally have like a good ownership, and they do good business. But it's kind of uncharacteristic of them to have like one season where four of their all-time great players are all at the end of their contracts. That's a bit of a mismanagement, in my opinion.
Yeah, um, they tried to play too smart, and they are going to get caught out in this.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard.
Yeah,
It's going to be a good, interesting summer for Liverpool for sure. City as well. We'll see what the Premier League decides happens to them in the next few weeks. So yeah, maybe transfer ban, maybe nothing. Who knows?
yeah, that's probably the most interesting piece of transfer drama that we are all looking forward to more than any
Yeah,
player going here or there. We don't have like an Mbappe to Real Madrid, um, rumor mill, or
yeah,
Neymar to Barca. So the City news is what is going to be the fodder for all of us in the summer.
yeah. I think it's going to be, and also like we have the Club World Cup coming up in the summer as well, right? So it's just yet another competition. There's too much football, man. I love football, and I'm saying this. There's too much football. Just let these guys also take a rest. They need a summer to recuperate. If you're playing every freaking 3 days, you are going into training, and you're like doing match training, which is very different from all the conditioning and recovery kind of workouts that you need to do. And if players are not getting that, there's no, you know it's not a surprise there are so many injuries across all the leagues. He had a bruising summer with Euro, and now it's just a bunch of just not great. I think we lost Chris. Did I lose you?
Oh, no, no, no. I just wanted to put you in the center of things, just as
Okay.
you taking on
I
some
thought
of.
you disappeared. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
you were
I think
saying a few sensitive
yeah,
things, and wanted to make sure I had nothing to do with that. So I
yeah.
put you
It's
front
just,
and center.
well, there's just too much football. That's just it. We need to we
He's
as a
also
society, we need a break from all this football that we are playing and watching.
right.
Go
Well, I
live
think
life.
that's an excellent note to end this conversation on. Speaking of breaks, fun chat. It's been little because there is no title to, talk about now that Liverpool have it in the bag. It just feels little off for us to do this. With every other league, that's not the case, right? Look at us, like Real Madrid dropped a couple of points, and we came back, and we were like, you know what, we are gonna keep it interesting. We'll also drop points, so we'll take the drama to another week.
Yeah, it's good to have that jeopardy. I like it will when the title race goes until like at least it should go till like mid May. Otherwise, it's not fun.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. And again, a plug to our other show. Keep an eye out, Sports Entertainment Weekly. Yeah, we were very creative with the name, clearly, but hopefully we make up for it with the content that we do. Thank you.
Exactly.